Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving straight into a deeply frustrating yet incredibly common psychological paradox, the inactive visionary. We're going to unpack the fascinating psychology behind why we sometimes dream so incredibly big, yet end up doing absolutely nothing about it.
You know the type, right? We all know someone who talks endlessly about success, about building wealth, or about stepping into this completely reinvented life. They imagine it so vividly and they genuinely believe they're capable of it. But somehow, nothing ever actually changes. And hey, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, sometimes that someone is us.
There is this massive, glaring gap between a perfect imagined life and zero actual change. It's actually pretty fascinating, because there's an incredibly vivid, capable imagination at play here. Think of that person who eagerly buys a website domain for a brand new business, designs the perfect logo in their head, maybe even drafts an incredible bio, but then they never actually write a single line of code. They never talk to a single potential customer. The ambition is absolutely there, but the real-world output, it's exactly zero.
Now, you might be wondering, what's really going on here? Well, psychology reveals this behavior isn't what we typically assume. It is not just laziness, and it definitely isn't a moral failing. Instead, what we're looking at are some hidden, deep-seated reasons. It's a series of predictable, subconscious defense mechanisms that our brains actively deploy to protect us from perceived threats.
Let's break this down into sections, starting with part 1, mind tricks and the illusion of progress.
This right here is called the progress illusion. In psychology, we see that merely imagining success can give your brain a premature sense of achievement. When you constantly visualize a goal, like say telling all your friends you're absolutely going to run a marathon next year, your brain actually releases small hits of dopamine. It feels almost exactly like you have already made real progress. The tragic result of this? It completely strips away your urgency to actually take action. Your brain essentially tricks you into feeling accomplished without you having to lift a single finger.
And that brilliant little trick leads us right into part 2, mental exhaustion.
You see, thinking about every single step, analyzing every possible outcome, and weighing every conceivable possibility comes with a really heavy biological tax. People who dream big often overthink the entire roadmap to achieve those dreams. But this relentless, non-stop analysis severely drains your cognitive energy. By overthinking every single detail before you even begin, your brain is working overtime. So by the time you actually need to execute, you're wiped out. You've exhausted yourself purely through thought. You experience severe decision fatigue before making a single real-world choice, and you end up doing nothing.
Moving deeper, let's look at part 3, ego protections, specifically the fear of trying.
This is a sneaky one, because a fear of failure is often perfectly camouflaged as motivation. People trapped in this cycle don't lack ambition at all. Rather, they are terrified of what happens if they try and actually fail. By staying safely tucked away in the planning phase, they protect their self-image from the painful, messy reality of falling short. Why? Because as long as you don't actually try, your dream remains utterly, flawlessly perfect.
That paralyzing fear feeds perfectly into part 4, the waiting game.
We see this two-step process that so many of us get trapped in. Step 1, feel perfectly ready. Step 2, take action. People mistakenly believe they absolutely must reach 100% readiness before starting step 2. It's kind of like refusing to start driving your car until every single traffic light in the entire city is perfectly green. But psychology shows us this equation is completely backward. Readiness and confidence usually come after you take action, not before. But because folks keep waiting for that perfect time, and we all know that perfect time naturally never arrives, they remain completely frozen.
Now we're hitting the deepest layer of the psyche in part 5, core self, identity, and potential.
Think about this quote. The brain resists actions that don't match how a person sees themselves. This is a profound hurdle rooted in cognitive dissonance. If you secretly believe, I'm not disciplined, or I'm an eternal procrastinator, you are going to struggle to act, no matter how grand your dreams are. Achieving those big dreams requires a fundamental shift in your identity, and your brain will fight that shift tooth and nail just to maintain its comfortable, familiar self-image.
This creates a massive divide between potential and effort. People easily become addicted to potential. Just talking about big dreams feels exciting, right? It offers a flawless, idealized version of future success. Real effort, however, is repetitive, it's slow, and honestly, it's highly uncomfortable. Instead of doing the unglamorous, boring work of reality, it's just so much easier to stay emotionally attached to the exciting idea of who you could be, actively avoiding who you actually are right now.
So how do we break this cycle?
That brings us to our final section, Part 6, Resolution and Breaking the Illusion. The stark truth is this: having big dreams isn't rare at all. Lots of people have them. But turning them into reality requires recognizing that your mind's default programming is not designed to make you highly successful. Evolutionarily speaking, your brain is designed to conserve energy, avoid risk, and keep you safe and comfortable. To take meaningful action, you literally have to battle your own biological defaults.
As this quote beautifully puts it, the difference isn't talent. It's the ability to act even when your mind is working against you. The ultimate takeaway from all this research is that success isn't about natural gifts, and it certainly isn't about the total absence of fear. It's about deliberately choosing effort over the comfortable illusion of potential. It's about overriding these mental traps and doing the work anyway, even when your own mind is screaming at you to just sit back, relax, and imagine it instead.
Which leaves us with a final, very personal question for you to chew on. Now that you can recognize your brain's own mind tricks, that illusion of progress, and the ego protections keeping you stuck, what will you do? Will you finally act, or will you just keep dreaming? The psychology is crystal clear. The next step is entirely up to you.